and welcome to the Dice Cabinet, a safe space for your spiciest tabletop takes. I'm your Secretary of Spice, Max Weinberg. My pronouns are he, him, and my guests are some of the coolest people in the tabletop space. First up is one of my collaborators on Mage Hand High Five. They play Hayden Kincaid and are the GM of the Cravenverse. It's the Secretary of Thembos, Robin Langenhop.
Hi, everybody. I make muscles look feminine.
Our next guest is the creator and editor and just about everything else behind the award-winning actual play podcast Queer PG, the Secretary of Sapphic Media. It's Kenzie Tartaglione.
I may not have ever seen the show, but I promise you I know if it's gay or not.
Yes.
And to round it out, she's a cast member of the award-winning actual play Last Train to Brooklyn and just finished the national tour of the 20-sided Tavern. It's the Secretary of Taverns, Jasmin Malave.
Yay, hi everybody. And I do drink in real life, not just at the taverns.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
I'm having a lovely time. How about you?
Oh, it's not bad. Hopefully that doesn't change too much over the next, 40 minutes or so.
Someone's going to make you mad.
I'm so excited.
Well, let's get down to business. So how this all works, one of our guests will present their take. Then in the ensuing free-for-all, all of the secretaries will go back and forth digging into the take to determine how spicy we think it is. Then we'll rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being chalk and 10 being a pepper X. At the end of the show, we'll tally up the scores and crown the spiciest take. Anyone have any questions?
No.
Nope.
No, let's dive right in.
Great. Who wants to go first?
I'll do it. I'm ready.
Woo!
Okay. So, and this is a sincerely held belief of mine, that min-maxing should be respected and a competitive esport.
I'm so excited for this.
We should be able to watch people as they do the math to figure out how to most effectively min-max a character. I think it's really a lot of work, and I believe that if you created a system that I can min-max, that it is my it is my responsibility to create the most effective character possible.
My immediate first thought is I'm fully on board with the exercise of min-maxing, but how does it become practical and acceptable at the table with other players in a campaign?
Well, I think my personal belief is that min-maxing the character itself is predominantly for you. If it's a headache for your GM because you figured out a way to have your AC be a 19 right off the bat, that's on the way the game is built, not on you. And so I just think you should be able to do that. And if you're min-maxing your turn, you're just being more effective for the things that you need to. I like to min-max my characters so that they have specializations, but I just think that it should be allowed. And I do think you could still get a cool character and follow through on interesting RP while you do it.
I'm kind of neutral on this because I feel like maybe the term min-maxer has negative connotations to it, when in reality, we're just talking about people who really like the mechanics of games.
Interesting.
And so, Robin, as you were saying, how does that work at a table? Well, that person is most likely going to be trying to find a table with like-minded people who also are more focused maybe on the mechanics of the games than they are on the storytelling. So what matters to them matters at the table.
But what matters to them isn't what matters here.
It matters to me that people who want to min-max are allowed to do what they want to do at the table they're playing at.
I think that where this falls apart for me is, number one, I don't think that a table full of all min-maxers is necessarily what's going to happen. More often than not, there's a single min-maxer in a sea of people with generally balanced characters. And then there's both the resentment level of, hey, this douche nozzle is in here making it less fun for the rest of us. And there's the stereotypical min-maxer position of, I'm gonna fight the DM on every choice so that I can show off. So I think there's part of it is the personality behind the person doing the min-maxing.
That's fair. I respect that.
I feel like min-maxing is so often just related to combat or charisma, D&D at least, and probably similar ones to combat or charisma checks.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wonder what min-maxing would look like when it comes to situations outside of those. So like if we're looking at, like you see videos of people like, I can make myself jump 400 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Doesn't you want to play with people like that?
I want you to be able to do that. I love breaking games. I want to know where I can push that. Like, if you gave me all of these things that I can use and I figured out a way to jump that hundreds and hundreds of feet, I win.
You should come to my table and play with my paladin who fought a beholder by running and jumping up and swinging his sword.
Yeah.
What, just one hit?
Well, no, but that was his continual turn because the rules of 5e allow for math to make jumps that you shouldn't be able to make possible.
Okay, here's a counterpoint. What about a min-maxing GM? Because you bring to me somebody who can have, an AC of 35, and I come at you with, hey, here's an intelligence saving throw, and I've ruined your whole day because I did the one thing you're bad at.
Sure.
No, but then that's the thing, right? Like, you've made a choice. You've chosen your path. There's things that you're going to be really bad at because you've min-maxed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
So it's just two chess grandmasters going up against each other trying to exploit each other's weaknesses.
Yes, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I like crunchy D&D. I like roleplay, but I also like crunchy mechanics.
Because of the Badlands, I've played far more on recording than off, and I'm trying to remove my recording actual player brain from this, because there was a moment in one of our shows where I did a thing where I was like, Casey, you are not going to be able to touch my character basically until I say it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a long time, and I was just like, that's not fun. But then I was like, oh, if this was a home game, I would have made this go as long as possible.
I mean, if you want to bring actual play into it, one of my most memorable watching actual play, one of the most memorable moments to me is Emily Axford in Crown of Candy, when she absolutely obliterates the entire battlefield because she knows her stats and she's good at what she does. And that was exciting to see. So I don't know if it matters, like if there's a difference actually between actual play production and playing at your home and min-maxing. It's just when you're making a show, the people who are making it know when to do that and when not to do that.
Yeah, I like min-maxing. I also, something people should understand about me is I min-max every single character that I build solely because I roll notoriously low. I will always roll low, and you need to understand that this is the only way for me to combat it unless I'm playing Cthulhu, where it's fine to roll low.
Mm-hmm.
I think where this take falls apart for me is when we get to the esports part, because this feels more like mathletes to me.
Oh yeah, that's fair. Also, it could be mathletes, but there's it should be a competitive sport of some sort. I think that
valid.
You should be able to show off your ability to find these loopholes. I think it's so interesting and also good for you.
Okay, this isn't the take, but how would we do that? Would that be speed? How if you ever done speed puzzles or seen them, you don't know what puzzle you're going to do ahead of time.
I feel like that's what it'd be like. You know when people in Magic do the card, they have to put the cards in the sleeves or whatever that is. It's it's like a speed thing. You have to be timed can you figure this out before everybody else?
And also so you get these different balls, the little rotating bingo ball containers, and you're everyone today is going to be making a level 8 barbarian, go! And just you have to make the most aggressive, insane level 8 barb, or something
in about
like that.
40 years, nursing homes are going to have a new game to be playing with their residents because we're all TTRPG nerds and we're all old.
I would be so bad at this game, but I would have so much fun doing it.
This is so off topic, but one time I was playing with my mom and my mom's best friend, and it was the first session. I was running the game. and they had never played before. And my mom's best friend is like fighting a bandit. And she just goes, I want to punch him in the dick. And I was so caught off guard by that statement from this 75-year-old woman that
Slay.
I had to just pause.
Did she succeed? Did she do it?
I think so. But then you had the thing of D&D where it doesn't actually do anything extra.
Hey, you can say that the dick has a different AC to the rest of the body, and then you can call your shot, man. That's how that works.
Well, I think on that statement, I think it's time to unless anyone has anything else, should we want to go and rate the take that min-maxing is good and should be a competitive sport?
I feel like this is pretty spicy. I'm going to put it at I'm going to say a 7, because you're basically saying that everyone's least favorite person at the table is great, actually. And having seen the way you play characters, you're bringing me around on it.
I swear every character I've ever played has been personally min-maxed to the best of my ability.
Clementine was amazing.
And she was pretty stacked. If I showed you her character sheet, you would not believe like her stats.
Kenzie, what do you think?
I'm thinking I gotta do kind of a cop-out move here and go right down the middle with a 5, because it seems just like it just seems like it doesn't really matter as long as everyone's having a good time. And I haven't personally had an experience with a min-maxer that has been negative as it feels like maybe all of you have, or at least Robin has.
A little bit.
I also think that this is pretty spicy, and I think I'm going to go with Robin on this one at a 7, because I think the idea that min-maxing is good is a really hot take, but I also love the idea of like speed running a situation, figuring out how to beat it as quickly as possible. I think that's a super fun idea. Doing some math real quick.
Doing some math. We're doing some math.
So the average score for Jasmine's min-maxing is good and should be an esport is 6.333 repeating, which is pretty good.
Pretty respectable.
This is good. Yeah. Thank you.
Pretty respectable.
Sorry to have brought it down.
No, I think that that's also a fair take. I wasn't sure it would be particularly spicy, but I'm happy that it was medium spicy.
It's a salsa that I cannot eat. Well, who would like to go next?
I can go. The play style of storytelling and living in a sandbox world is bad and actually not ever possible.
Not possible. Okay.
Wow.
Could you expand on that a little bit?
Sure. This honestly does kind of tie in with my other take, so I'm going to try not to fully comment on it. But,
little teaser for the
sure.
An amuse-bouche.
How do I put this kindly?
There's no kindness in the spice cabinet.
You will never tell a story or finish a campaign or finish a session if you just let your characters, your players, I should say, run around willy-nilly and not do anything. Because players at a table, unless you give them some sort of guidance, will never make a choice.
I agree with this 200%.
I almost want to say, like, for the average player, I don't think you're wrong.
Well, I've stumped the spice takes.
No, and like, I wanted to argue with that because it's like, oh, no, but what if I just want to go do these different things and we can follow our hearts? But then I'm like thinking about my actual home game where we started doing the Mad Mage dungeon and found it so grueling to do that dungeon crawl that we immediately came back above ground immediately. Like, it took weeks of play, but we actually only did like 2 days in the dungeon. But we like came back almost immediately to Waterdeep and then proceeded to spend the like next year fucking around and opening up a bar. So we now are the proud owners of an operational bar in Waterdeep, including finding distributors and things like that for resources for different things that we're selling at our bar. And that's because our DM let us sandbox. And so we just decided to open a bar.
I have a thing though. Once you decided not to do that dungeon and your crew decided on opening up this bar, did the DM just step away and say, all right, you guys can do this all on your own? Or did they come in and they help you build the bar within the D&D world? Because they've now introduced some rails.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he did show up and let us RP interviewing bartenders. So he came prepared with interview material.
There you go. The rails have been entered into the conversation.
Interesting, because I was about to come in to counter your take with you just need consequences for the player's actions. Like they can fuck around as much as they like as long as they find out after the fucking around part. But if you're saying that still counts as rails, then really your take is more like TTRPGs require GMs, which feels less spicy to me.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's what I mean, because there are a lot of great GM-less TTRPGs.
Mhm.
But, and also I don't think coming in and when your players are fucking around and coming in and introducing consequences is putting rails on it all. It's punishment. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean that like, if your players continue, I mean, honestly, at that point, disband the table if no one's having fun. But like, if you can they can only find out so much until no one is having fun anymore. And so like at some point during that time, the GM either has to figure out how to put rails on the tracks and get them focused, or it disbands and falls apart. The group does.
Interesting. Okay.
I fully agree with you, because even to a lesser extent, I think of the video games that I love playing, and everyone and their mother loves Skyrim and Breath of the Wild, and I understand that these are good games, but I couldn't care less about playing them. I've tried so many times. I have woken up shirtless Link so many times, but there is nothing to do. Getting off the platform is not exciting. The plateau, that's not fun. I've woken up next to that guy in Skyrim probably 15 times over the last 20 years or however long that game's been out. Could not care less, because there is no hook. There is nothing to keep me going.
I feel the same about MMORPGs. The number of times somebody tried to get me into World of Warcraft or RuneScape or something like that. I had a DM once who just ran RuneScape as though it were a D&D game. Didn't add story. It was just you walked into the next town over and there are fish people attacking. And that was it. Like there was no overarching story of any kind. And it fell apart because nobody wanted to play anymore.
I will say, unfortunately, though, that is kind of how D&D specifically was written. Only recently has Wizards of the Coast decided to change how they, not even the rules really, but change how they talk about what D&D is to match what their consumers have started to do with their game. So technically, he was running D&D probably by the book. No one liked it.
Yeah, very possible.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I feel like I'm at war in my own brain about this, because I do like Breath of the Wild, but do I like it because I get a certain satisfaction in my brain? Like I get to scratch that itch in my brain as I get closer and closer to 100% because I'm a completionist? Or am I actually having fun? I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Well,
the
thing about Breath of the Wild is, yes, it starts off and you're just, shirtless on a mountaintop. But as soon as you approach a settlement or, you get close to Zora's domain and rails pop up. And it's like, here, you found the story. Now we're going to go do story for a few hours. And you explore in the path between the stories. But the rails are absolutely there. You just you get a little bit of messing around time before you stumble into them.
Mm-hmm.
I think The Sims is another example of that, because I've played thousands upon thousands hours of Sims, but at some point, if you aren't making up your own stories for The Sims in your brain and making it play out, the game just doesn't go anywhere, because it's...
Yeah.
So you have to give yourself rails in Sims if you want to keep playing. Usually I play a game for a little bit and then I'm like, well, I guess I'll make a new sim and start a whole new game because I don't know where I'm going with this. And I've done that thousands of times. So, maybe there's something to it. But
do the rails of our minds outweigh the sandbox of our hearts?
Close it out. Close it out. We're done for the evening.
Sorry, I need to go lie down for a while.
Does anyone else have anything about sandbox games are bad, period, before we rank them?
I think we've covered it.
Great. Then, Jasmine, since you love sandbox games, what is your take on this? What do you rank this take?
Yeah, then I'm going to say, since I do really love sandboxes, I'm going to say it's pretty spicy. I'm going to give it a 7.
Robin?
Ooh, I've been torn on this for pretty much the whole conversation. So I think that alone makes me feel like a 7 is correct.
I'm sorry, Kenzie. I don't think this is very spicy, as I 100% agree with you.
I also 100% agree with me.
And a fully... Well, I guess here's the part that always kind of, even though this is kind of a show that I created, that I always kind of go back and forth on. It's like, I agree, but does that make it a spicy take or not? Because to me, it's not a spicy take. So I should give it a low score. But in the grand scheme of things, is it a spicy take?
There's a strange aspect to the show wherein if you argue your point too well, it makes it less spicy.
Correct.
Shh, don't say the quiet part out loud, Robin.
And honestly, that was my goal because I need to make people agree with me.
Yes.
Then no. Give it a spicy rating. Give it a spicy rating. I also want to win the game.
25.
Whoa.
I think it's not as spicy, and also for math purposes, I'm going to give it a 4. Unfortunately,
Damn.
I'm sorry. I agree with you, and I think that a lot of people would as well.
Can't believe you just wanted to make it easier on yourself to do math.
I was going to give it a 3.
Okay, well, I appreciate you wanted to make it easy on yourself to do math.
Which gives the average to be a 6, which is still pretty good.
Jasmine's got me beat.
By a third.
It still
by a
counts.
Spicy little third.
If I was winning by a third, I'd be like, I'm still winning.
Touche.
Welcome to the Beastland. Here, the only law is of the jungle, the only call of the wild. But all is not balanced in these happy hunting grounds, and when aberrant scars of the planescape's great conflicts tarnish these lands, only the noble unicorn knights can preserve the natural order. Or at least their recent contractors can give it their best shot. The quarry is clear, the trail warm. It's time to assemble our hunting party. Rolling with Difficulty presents our third D&D campaign, Hunting Party. Enter the Beastlands with our noble unicorn knights and hunt some aberrations on all fine podcasting platforms, or catch us over on the Rolling with Difficulty YouTube channel where you can get the same episodes but with animated battle maps. But whether you go for YouTube or your podcast platform of choice, happy hunting!
Howdy, y'all! Are you looking for a way to design and build models of your own favorite tabletop characters? If you are, I want to introduce you to Hero Forge. At heroforge.com, you can create a fully customizable miniature using their database of dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from, all from their super user-friendly website. You can order your custom mini directly from Hero Forge or download and print it at home if you have access to a 3D printer. We used Hero Forge to start designing our Badlands characters way back at the beginning, and their huge range of customization options really helped us to bring the Twin River Trio to life. But Hero Forge does more than just minis. They also do 3D custom printed dice and custom acrylic keychains. If you expect to make a lot of minis, I would recommend checking out their Pro or Pro Plus subscription. The Pro subscription gives you access to kit bashing, photo booth, and tools to organize your minis. Pro Plus gives you all of that, plus 5 monthly digital credits for either printing at home or moving your creations over to a virtual tabletop. Visit HeroForge.com today to start designing your own custom minis. And don't forget to check back often. New content is added every week. Happy building!
Attention bounty hunters, outlaws, and space cowboys. Soul Muppet Publishing has just announced Orbital Blues Month, a collaborative crowdfunding campaign featuring 6 different creators, each celebrating our favorite space western TTRPG, Orbital Blues. Launching April 1st on BackerKit, this expansion of the Frontier Galaxy brings new adventures, factions, and mechanics. And as a fan of all things space western, I can't wait to see what's in store. If you're an experienced runner that knows a thing or two about Heartbreak on the Cosmic Range, or if you're a fan of Cowboy, Bebop, Firefly, and Guardians of the Galaxy and don't know about Orbital Blues, well, now's the perfect time to saddle up. Filled with high-tech data heists, high-octane space racing, and even an interstellar train line, this series of releases will have a little something for everyone. Orbital Blues Month starts April 1st on BackerKit. I'll see you there, partner.
Hi, my name is Robin.
And my name is Dylan.
Do you like Choices Matter video games?
If so, we started this podcast, Dorkspawn, so that I could show my best friend my favorite RPG series of all time, Dragon Age.
And now that I've played it, we want to share more of these choice-heavy games with each other.
Right now, Robin is showing me Mass Effect, which I have never played before.
And we are going to continue playing through these games together and discussing them book club style as we go.
You can join our Discord and play along with us, and tune into Dorkspawn every Friday wherever you listen to podcasts.
Next up, Robin, what do you got?
All right, I'm nervous about this one. I think people are going to come for me in the comments. So we're going to see how this goes. Theater of the Mind is objectively worse than playing with physical miniatures. And I know people are going to come for me for this, but hear me out. I've found that having physical representations of what I'm talking about at the table to be honestly an accessibility tool. And when you are in combat, especially for more than a single enemy, things get so complicated so quickly, and without details present to help the players understand what the parameters are, where they are, what they're working with, all they have is their character sheet to go on.
I think this is a super spicy take because it ignores every other TTRPG that isn't mass or combat based. I can't run a Monster Hearts battle, a Monster Hearts combat with minis and a map because there aren't rules that require there to be any sort of math or like distance measuring or anything like that. So I think it's a hot take because we're saying it about. Go ahead.
I will counter you on this because I think it just makes your map making easier because you don't need to worry about squares or exact distances, but you can still provide your players with a map and a layout of what they're working with so that they can say, oh, I'm gonna run to the kitchen to get such and such utensil to help me deal with the issue in front of me. Whereas if it's Theater of the Mind, you go, I don't know how many rooms are in this place or how, like where my friends are in relation to me. And you're just giving your player more tools.
I think that in a lot of these other games, the players have the onus to make that up themselves. The GM doesn't have to say where everybody is, what everything is. They can go, I'm going to go to a kitchen and in this kitchen there's a knife. And then the GM goes, yes, correct.
And we're saying like, and your hot take too, I just wanted to make sure that this is like for everything, not just combat. Because like, I don't necessarily disagree with combat, but for everything, there just should be maps and minis.
Well, obviously it gets to a point where it's practically more difficult, but
Right.
any
But, like,
instance
exploration,
wherein you can provide a map as a resource, it's only going to help your players. Think about
Look, we have all stood in front of an unlocked, unmagicked door for 45 minutes before, Robin. Whether there is a physical manifestation of it or it's in our brains, I don't know if that's going to make any difference.
But that doesn't make theater of the mind better.
Well, I'm so conflicted because I love, as my partner puts it, fancy chess. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like in a way, I was about to just talk myself out of something.
Go ahead. Feel free.
I don't know. Well, I was just about to say, I feel like when I do theater of the mind stuff, I'm freer because I'm not limited with what's in front of me. But then I just talked myself into like, no. And then I lift up my little guy and he does a backflip and I'm doing the flip with my hands as opposed to just saying I do a backflip. I don't know.
It's also super dependent on table.
Mm-hmm.
Because like my home game, it's not, and my home game is D&D. Number one, I do think D&D combat is virtually impossible to do theater of the mind because somebody's going to be mad that they thought they were closer or they thought they were farther and they're going to disagree with where they were, and it's a mess. I do think actually for D&D combat, you need some sort of grid map. And I've found that that's true because I've lived through trying to do theater of the mind and my players just being like, I have no idea where I am in relation to anything.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it is inherently better than theater of the mind. I think that it depends upon the game you are playing.
Yeah.
So I think, are we ready to vote or score how spicy Robin's take of theater of the mind is objectively worse than using minis is?
Yeah. To make the math hard on you, I'm giving it an 8.2.
Ooh. God, we cannot set in this cabinet. We cannot set that precedent.
You can round it up. You can give me a 9.
That's
rounding down.
Jasmine?
I'm so split because I agree for combat, but probably combat only. It's pretty okay. I'm gonna say it's a 7.5.
You gotta be kidding me.
Make it as hard as possible.
Yes.
I love it.
I'm glad I'm going last in all of these so I can fix the math. I do also think that this is really spicy. The no leeway on it being better. So I'm gonna give it a 9. I think it's really spicy,
all right.
honestly. And oh God. Is 26.7 divided by 3. Okay, that's just under 26.7. That's 9.9. No, that's not. That's 8.
No, I think it's 24.7.
No, it's oh fuck.
Yeah,
I did the math wrong.
Because it was
in the
9 plus 8.2 plus 7. That's why I pulled the calculator out because I was like, oh, he's already got it wrong.
You know what? What was yours? Oh, I gave you a 4. It's a 0 now. I'm going back and editing my score
No
of yours
backtracking on
to
this
be
show.
a 0.
So what's the actual score then?
It's 8.2.
8.2. All right.
8.2. Great. And to round it out, I want to present everyone here with just a question to tickle the mind. Is cereal a soup?
Absolutely not.
Yes.
I guess I don't want it to be.
No, I
I
won't.
don't really think it needs an explanation, but Jasmine apparently needs it to be explained to her.
I can't accept this. A soup is a combination of like spices and typically some sort of a broth. I can see the world where someone would try to argue like it's cold, so it's a gazpacho, but you can't have a cold chowder. There's no cold chowder, therefore milk is not a soup.
I think the dividing line, because I really want Jasmine to be correct. I think the dividing line is that soup is savory. And so you can't have a sweet soup, which most cereals are.
You just haven't tried hard enough.
I don't want to.
Is this like a square rectangle situation? So soup is not, so cereal is not soup, Robin, by that definition, but is soup cereal?
No. They're fundamentally different categories of things.
Is a savory oatmeal a soup?
There's no broth.
Right. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, though. And or like a cream of wheat.
Well, then is mac and cheese a soup?
Mac and cheese could be a
Is
soup.
mac and cheese a
so
soup?
sorry. So sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes mac and cheese is liquidy.
The cheese,
you
the
did it
cheese is a
wrong.
sauce. It's not.
I
a
would
broth.
agree with that, but that doesn't mean it's not still mac and cheese.
I mean,
Yeah, I think that's a sauce versus broth question because I think that
Yes.
mac and cheese,
that's good,
no
that's
matter
good,
how
actually.
goopy it is or how like loose it is, it's a sauce.
So is
Ooh, how
cereal
loose
so
it
is cereal
is.
a pasta?
is cereal a pasta?
If milk isn't a broth,
I am more willing to entertain that because, I really do think the base broth or the base water is extremely important. And,
Yes.
a cream base or a tomato base situation is closer to pasta.
Yeah, I think we
Boy.
got it, folks. I think that's it.
I got it.
Boom, solved.
We solved it. We solved it.
Cereal is pasta.
Cereal
Heard it here
is
first.
pasta. Well, to wrap up this and to recap today's episode, we have solidified that Kenzie's Sandbox Gaming is Bad take is the least spicy at a 6 out of 10.
boo. Who said that?
Who said that? Then Jasmine's min-maxing is good and should be an esport. Got a 6.333333333 repeating.
Infinity.
And then to wrap it up, Robin's Theater of the Mind is objectively worse than using minis. Got an 8.2 for the spiciest take of today, but really I think the winner is cereal is
Cereal is
pasta.
So I win again. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Cereal is pasta. You brought it back around to become the winner.
Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you to our amazing guests, Jasmine and Kenzie. Robin, this is our channel, so we're here.
Yeah,
I'm
around.
Jasmine and Kenzie, do y'all have anything you want to plug?
Yes, I would love to, as mentioned at the top of the show. You should go check out my podcast, Queer PG. We're an actual play podcast that focuses on telling queer stories using queer games. And currently, I'm not exactly sure when this episode is coming out, but you should go check us out because we are in the middle of our Moonlight on Roseville Beach season, and it is
Ooh.
gearing up for some crazy times over there.
And you can find me on socials at Jazzy Loves Drama. And I also play a lot with Twice Rolled Tales. We have some more stuff coming up soon and a really exciting season planned for next season. And the last thing is I also have my own cute little podcast unrelated to tabletop games. It's just me and a friend talking about rom-coms. So if anyone is a rom-com lover, you can check it out. It's called Shenanigans Ensue.
Thank you all for listening again. If you enjoyed it, this has been the Dice Cabinet. And if you want more, you can head on over to our Patreon at patreon.com/Mage Hand High Five, where you can get more as part of our download tier, in addition to many other fun goodies like talkbacks and homebrew items. And with that, the cabinet is closed.
Want to show your support for our show? Want to hear us talk more about it? Then check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Mage Hand High Five. We've got all kinds of goodies from $2 if you just want to show your support to $5, which gets you extra stuff like homebrew content, early access to merch, and a whole second extra podcast, Mage Hand Down Low, where we talk about the behind the scenes of the episodes. And then if you really want to go to the distance, our $10 tier includes all the above, plus monthly live streams and creative content from the cast that you can't get anywhere else. Check us out at patreon.com/Mage Hand High Five. Thanks to Jacob Kersner for our music and Shane Smith for our logo and our cover art. Check out our website at magehandhighfive.com and look for us all across social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Discord, Blue Sky, and wherever else we may be, we're going to be there at Mage Hand High Five. Go to your podcatcher of choice and throw a 5-star review our way. It makes a huge help. It says a little screw you to the algorithm, and it helps us get found by new listeners. So please head on over and do it. And those who have already, thank you so much. We love you. And now I'm going to shout out all of our original and up high subscribers over on Patreon. And I'm going to do it in one breath. Crimson Crown finding new ways of making Robin regret giving me this power, so I'll make it as long as possible. Fear me, Robin, Michael Carey, Marinette, Malty, Azure, Luke Sharples, Miranda Koppel, Jay, Theo Wells, Wade, Lindsay, Dale, Heimbecker, DM, Dippy Fresh, Charles Zelda, Deborah Jacobson, Jackson Maurer, Ocarina Sonata, Mads, Jellycube, Morgan Faber, Kathleen Ayers, Kellen Wuber, Trout Relief, Mac, Patrick Eppingman, Debbie, Nathan the Redder, Trick and Too Tasty, Evan Noon, Avery Spar, Am Lovely, Elson DeVelvis, Das Carpenter, Diana Bacon, Al Forrest Okie, Liz, Carrie Lee, Jonathan Gunn, Tyler Gardner, Elda Soldier, Alada Pang, Laura Kickman, Al, and Sammy Richardson. Oh, I found a new approach. I apologize to those of you whose names I blipped over in the process of it, but I think I'm ready for more challenge. So here we go. Tell your friends about the show. Tell your foes about the show. Tell renowned character actor Kyle MacLachlan about the show. I don't even know if he likes D&D, but if he does, and if he listened to the show, I would be enormously happy and could just die. So do that. And when you do, use the hashtag MHH5. And hey, how about high five?